This is Packer and Durham on ACCN and SiriusXM Channel 371.
You look good uptown Charlotte, by the way.
Well, like I said, I still have my ACC Network ankle bracelet. I can't leave Mecklenburg County, but I can come to uptown Charlotte and rub elbows with the rich and famous and talk hoops.
Put on a coat.
I told you I was going to wear
a blazer. Got your Disney one-year pin on.
Disney pin on. I am somebody, and still going to pay $25 for valeting the Ford F-150. But we're excited, man.
Yeah.
We're going to talk hoops for the next 4 hours. And, Wes, I told you 6 months ago,
right,
with this transfer portal going on right now in the world of college athletics, and basketball specifically, I don't know what the rosters look like. I even told you, hey, in the middle of October, hand me a roster, and then I'll tell you what we're doing. I think today and tomorrow with the ladies, this will be a very educational process because we're going to find out who's on everybody's team. This is so unlike any other year that I can remember in college basketball. There's been so much movement, whether we're talking about the ACC, the Pac-12, or anybody in between, that you really don't even know what a roster looks like.
I think that's well said. I think the important thing to remember is we got numbers to kind of validate some of this too, because a year ago it was estimated that just under a third of all Division I college basketball players were in the portal, right? I mean, there was later reported somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,800 went to the portal. Jeff Borzello said 1,700. There are 14 top 100 transfers. We now do that, by the way, in college basketball. 14 top 100 transfers are coming into the ACC. 15 top 100 transfers left the ACC. So it is to be honest, a fluid situation. It'll be interesting to hear from these coaches and some of these players today about core ideas, chemistry, fundamental play. What do you know about your team? How fast is the summer gone? And by the way, this is basketball in kind of the strains and final steps of the COVID situation, Pack. A year ago, basketball was totally plastic, totally sterile for most of the year. Doesn't look like it's going to be that way this year, and I think people are excited to get it back to normal like we've seen so far in the fall with football.
I personally would like to get a percentage of all the programs that are going to be sold in the ACC footprint this year because as a fan of college hoops, when you go to a game this year, you're going to have to buy a program to find out, hey, who is on my team? I think the one thing we're going to find out this morning and this afternoon here on ACC Network when we talk to coaches and players, hey, who is on your team? I mean, it sounds like a fundamental question, but, Wes, I cannot remember. I mean, even as a kid, growing up, you and I were in the same world here, you would know every player on every roster. You'd know who's coming back, what their stats were. Could he go to his left? I mean, now it's like, holy mackerel, so-and-so's gone? Where'd this guy come from? Oh, he's a great player from Marquette. What team's he going to? It is a total wild, wild west situation.
Yeah, and you're going to hear about guys today that you may or may not have heard of leading up to the start of the season who may have joined a program literally as the semester started at some institutions. Remember now, we're just into the third week of October here. We're just kind of getting our arms around what college basketball looks like. These coaches are days, not weeks into practice sessions, that kind of thing. I think we'll find out a little bit more as the day unfolds. Certainly tomorrow on the ladies' side, we'll find out. I think we all know who the favorites are going to be, at least situationally. I think you got the Duke and the Florida State on the men's side. I think you look at Louisville and NC State on the women's side. But then again, here's the moving target, Pack. There's more of a moving target.
Wes, I don't know if I could say that. Every year we come and do this, right? And we sit there and tell you all, here's who we think is going to be in the top four of the ACC with the men's side. And there's always somebody, right? There's always somebody. And, we never talked about Florida State. Leonard shows up and just wears everybody out as usual. Duke gets a lot of love. It's been a while since they've won the ACC regular season. We'll talk to Coach K come up here in about a half an hour or so. In my opinion, again, this is purely a guess at this point in time because you haven't seen anything. You don't even know what the rosters look like. I think a team like Syracuse could have one of those years.
Yeah, sure.
You go to the traditional – Duke, Carolina, Florida State, Virginia, yada, yada, yada. I think Syracuse may be primed to stick their nose in everybody's business this year.
Yeah,
just a guess.
Interesting. Buddy Boeheim and Barama Sidibe will be here with us before we're done at 11 o'clock. All right, so who are some of the new faces coming into the ACC? Pablo Banchero of Duke, Pablo Banchero, I should say, of Duke, is the highest-rated recruit. He and Trevor Keels and A.J. Griffin, who sustained a knee injury, is going to miss the first couple, 3 weeks, I think, of the regular season. Those are the headliners for Coach K in his final turn with Duke. Matt Cleveland is a small forward. Big expectations at Florida State. Benny Williams, Pac just mentioned Syracuse. Throw in Benny Williams, the number 32 ranked recruit in the country, to join Buddy Boeheim, his brother Jimmy, Joe Girard. I mean, it's an interesting team to look at. Dallin Coleman, Debo Coleman of Georgia Tech, he's a top 50 player, and Hubert Davis has the services of shooting guard DeMarco Dunn. Those are the top kind of 50 guys in the ACC from the ESPN 100 of incoming freshmen.
You know, and we've been down this road before in the ACC. The league always produces outstanding freshmen, right? It's league recruits. It's a basketball league, always has been. Football's looking to improve. But we know there's going to be terrific basketball talent coming in as freshmen. Wes, the million-dollar question, though, is transfers.
Yeah.
I think that is where this league is a complete, total dice roll in terms of, hey, who are these guys? Hey, do you remember watching Dawson Garcia from Marquette? If not, get ready for
Well,
it.
he lit up Carolina and Chapel Hill, so Tar Heel fans,
They would know.
They have probably a sour memory and are hoping for positive ones. Caleb Mills transfers from a really good Ivy League, didn't play basketball a year ago. Paul Atkinson was there almost the entire year from Yale to play at Notre Dame. Armand Franklin left Indiana. He's come to Virginia. And Noah Locke from Florida is a top 50 incoming transfer as well through the portal to play at the University of Louisville. I think the combinations, the chemistries, all the things that we've kind of come to expect about ACC basketball over the years, how does it all collide now? How do those fundamental things, the defense, we hear coaches talk, well, we got to get better defensively. How did you know who you had defensively? Some of these, Pac-2, the summer small group workouts, long before practices began, those were probably as revealing, if not more revealing, than the early stages of the organized official practices we've seen now for the last week or so.
I know when here on ACC Network, when the schedule release came out, I was not so much as interested in what the schedule looked like, but the guys did a great job breaking down who's in and who's left.
That's it.
And I was blown away because, like I told you, I don't want to know anything about hoops until you give me a roster. And when you see who's gone, who's coming in, it is all over the place. So I do think that, you'll think that the same old in the league will be really good again. Why wouldn't you? Great coaching, tradition, history, players, etc. But I do think the transfer portal is going to have a major impact on what we eventually see this year in the ACC.
I don't think there's any doubt. By the way, here's what we've got for you coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Remember, we got 4 big hours of Packer and Durham here today from the ACC men's tip-off. Brand new member of the team, Pack.
Yeah.
All we do is sign point guards and national champs. Joel Berry will be here in just a couple moments. Coach K, bottom of the hour, and then Notre Dame head coach Mike Bray, all set to join us here at the Marriott City Center in fabulous uptown Charlotte. So we're looking forward to being here until 11 o'clock. Then Nothing But Net takes over and gets you through the rest of the afternoon.
Excited about Joel Berry joining the team.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Tell you what, Booze, Luke Hancock, Joel Berry, all got rings.
There's our boy right there.
They all
Joel
got rings. Joel Berry still can handle the rock. What's he doing? Cashing in for TV. We'll come back, talk to the former Tar Heel point guard, now a member of our ACC Network team. Next, when Packer and Durham continues, the ACC tip-off from uptown Charlotte on a Tuesday morning? Yes. Back after this.
The Packer and Durham Podcast. This is the Packer and Durham Podcast.
Hey, don't forget we got hoops the next 2 days, but Saturday we got doubleheader of ACC football. 3:30 we got ACC football presented by Subway. Miami visits Kenan Stadium to see North Carolina. Tar Heels trying to rebound after the Florida State loss, and Miami now with Van Dyke at quarterback following the season-ending surgery to De'Aaron King, and then ACC primetime football presented by Geico. Pac's already kind of looking ahead to NC State Boston College Saturday night on ACC Network and streaming live on the ESPN app.
The Tar Heel jerseys always look sweet, man. That's a good-looking combo right there.
Yeah.
Always has been.
Joel Berry wore those black jerseys at one time. He also wore the one with the logo on it and all that. And now he's playing TV with us, Pac. Come on, Joel. Huh? Welcome.
Welcome, man.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How did we get here? How did we get to television? Because it just seems like, 3 years ago, I was sitting in one of these rooms asking you about your last season, right?
Right. Life is crazy how it works, but I'm happy to be here. I had a great professional career. I enjoyed it. Basketball means so much to me, but now I'm with you guys, and I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
Let's talk about the Heels a second. New era, right? Roy Williams, legendary, decides to go play golf, and good for him. He's earned it. Here comes Hubert Davis. Guy knows more about North Carolina basketball than anybody on the planet. How do you think he's going to do?
I think he's going to do amazing. I watched some of his interviews, and you can just see the passion that he has for Carolina, and I think that he will put that into his players, and I think he will get all the players to realize what they're playing for. And when you step out on the court with that name on the front of your jersey, it means everything. And Coach Davis represents that, and I think it's great that they kept it in-house with bringing him in, and I'm excited for him.
It's important we get one of these guys that just came off the floor like yourself in some respect. This game at the college level, Joel, is changing so fast. Transfers, grad guys, all sorts of things. If you're playing, take me back to trying to build a team. You were a great leader in addition to being a great player. How do you put a team together among guys in that locker room now? It's got to be a tricky deal, right?
It is. You have guys coming from different places with different philosophies that they've picked up during their time at other schools. And then you also have the guys that are coming in from high school. So it's a lot that goes into it, and it's hard, trying to build that camaraderie in the locker room. And it's not easy at all, but hopefully these guys can come together and make it happen. But this is going to be a tough year for a lot of teams with the transfers and new guys coming in.
Joe, we talked about this is going to be really an educational experience for everybody in the league as far as get to know your team, because I grew up with this stuff. I don't ever remember a time where there's been more movement on every single roster in the league. And then you get the transfers coming in, and if you were not paying attention to teams around the country, you're like, I've never heard of this guy. Can he play dead in a cowboy movie? He's going to take us to a championship. So, with that said, and this is totally a crystal ball, what do you think we're going to get in the league? Who do you think will be good and take advantage of the transfer portal and incoming fresh?
It's hard. Just looking at college football right now, there are teams that are top in the country that you wouldn't have expected to be, in the top 10. So I think that we have to look at every team as a whole this year in the ACC. You can't just focus in on one team. And I think it's great, honestly, because you have a lot of guys who have the ability to play in the ACC, but they just didn't have the opportunity when they were getting recruited. So now they were able to go build their resume and come to the ACC. And play in this high-level conference. So I think it's great. And like I said, I don't think you can focus on one team.
It is interesting to see the guys that have transferred from what we would call like mid-Division I, right? Outside the Power 5. They've come into the Power 5. That kind of guy he's probably got an ambition coming out of high school, that an itch he wants to scratch, if you will, right?
Right.
In that world, How easy, because he's got college experience, can he integrate to a Duke, a Florida State, a Carolina, a Virginia, right?
Yeah, I think it's easy for a guy like that because you've played at the high level, not as high as the ACC, but you've played college basketball. And wherever you go, talent is talent. Mm-hmm. And like I said, some of these guys just didn't get that opportunity coming out of high school to get the chance to be at a school in the ACC or be at a top school. So now that they've gone somewhere, built their resume, built up their confidence, they're ready to come play. And that's why I'm so excited to see basketball this year and what happens.
Joe, there's so many great venues to play basketball in this league. I won't let you go back in your career here. But when's the first time when you put that Tar Heel jersey on and you walked out? Could have been a Smith Center, maybe better yet on the road, and you realize, oh my goodness, I'm in the Atlantic Coast Conference. This is no joke.
Yeah, just my first game at Carolina. Man, my freshman year my eyes were wide the whole time.
You mean it wasn't a Popka anymore?
No, it was totally different than a Popka. A lot more people than a Popka. But it was amazing being able to see some of the games and being involved in some of the games. And it's just been amazing. But my first game that I stepped into Carolina, my eyes were just wide open.
And I think that's what makes this year so interesting, because you get all these transfers that, guess what, they've played in front of big crowds. Now all of a sudden they may put a different jersey on, they get a chance to go to Cameron Indoor, the Smith Center, or go down to try to beat Florida State. Somebody try to beat Florida State, or Virginia, as tough as it is. Those guys are now experienced. That's why it's really hard to handicap anybody, because it's not just a freshman walking in. You got a grown man putting a jersey on and going, guess what, I can help you right now tonight. Let's go.
Right, exactly. And you got to think also, too, about the guys who came in as freshmen from last year. They didn't get a chance to play in front of the crowd. So they will have to also adjust to playing in front of the crowds as well. And the hardest place to me to play is in Carolina. I mean, there's so many fans, and so just being able to play in front of the crowd it'll be a change for everybody, even the people who played last year.
All right, you're going to slide your analyst hat on here. This is your Packer and Durham orientation, if you will. Okay, there'll be other orientation when you get to the nothing but net crowd later.
Yeah, that's a whole different totally different cast of characters.
But if you're looking at two guys, give me two players that you would say today we ought to keep an eye on. They may be guys we're familiar with. Maybe they're new players in the ACC.
Yeah, the one guy I've been focusing on, because he's Carolina, and of course he's a point guard, is Caleb Love. Mm-hmm. I want to see him take that next step, and I think everybody's excited for him. And the point guard, as always, it's the hardest position at Carolina. So sometimes you have to go through those freshman pains, but I think he'll take that next step. And I'm excited to see what he does. And then a guy from Virginia, the point guard from Virginia.
K.J. Clark?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him as well.
Yeah.
I love the point guard position, and I focus in on that always, because it's really the head of the team, and you only go as far as your point guard. And so I'm excited to see what he can do this year. And I've been paying a little bit of attention to him, so I like his game a lot.
Back at 10:30, we're going to tell Caleb Love Joel Berry is really focused on him.
Nothing like pressure, right? I mean, it's already tough enough walking in the Smith Center getting the job done. You know who I can't wait to see? I want to see the Boeheim boys put it together up there at Syracuse. I think Syracuse is flying underneath the radar, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of talk. Florida State does their thing, and Shades of Blue and Tony Bennett and all that great stuff, and they're always good. But I think the boys up there at Cuse may have something to say this year.
Yeah, I think Syracuse is always good. Even when they don't have the top recruits, they're always good. And the reason why is they just – the way they play is unorthodox. I mean, going against a 2-3, the way that they play it, I'll tell you right now, I did not like it. And it was so hard because you can't get it. There's no way to get used to it. So I just think with the talent that they have and the way that they play, I think Syracuse will be good this year.
I'm sitting here thinking that Joel Berry and Boozer get together. We put a Carolina and a Duke guy together. We're going to ruin the room. Luke Hancock and Dallin Couple have no chance. Pack.
Well, here's what I'll say, though. It's funny. I had an interview yesterday with Dave Fleming, voice of the Giants.
Right.
And he's out there in L.A. for the Giants-Dodgers.
Sure, I knew we were getting to Giants and Dodgers.
No, I'm going to tie it all into the ACC. And he talked about the fact that the fans out there absolutely despise one another, Giants-Dodgers. And I said, is there anything that it relates to the college game? And he mentioned Auburn, Alabama football, Ohio State, and Michigan. And I said, how about Duke, Carolina? Because I've always thought, growing up in North Carolina, the Duke and Carolina players, actually there's a respect factor.
Oh, yeah.
There is. There's blood, sweat, tears. We all kind of get it. Yeah, you wear your light shade, I wear the dark shade. But there's a respect factor amongst players. Fans, all bets are off. So I think you and Booze will be just fine with the respect factor. Now, the fans that get around them, that's a whole different story. Yeah. It's nuts.
Right, that's true. I think, a lot of people don't understand behind the scenes. We know a lot of the Duke guys. I mean, we played travel basketball with them and stuff. So it's more of the fans that make it that way, which is I kind of like it. Like you said, we have a respect for the other side, but the fans, man, they take it to a whole nother level.
All right, so you put the basketball away. You retired from the game. I know you were G League, then you went to Turkey for a year, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. You got married before your pro career really ever started. Mm-hmm. Now you got a baby, you got a new job, you got a 9 to 5, and now you're going to do TV as well with us. You got a full plate, man.
I do. I'm a family man. Family has always been something that's huge, and during my time, as you can see, my little baby girl right there.
Nice. That's awesome.
She's amazing. She's brought nothing but joy to our family. But I've always been a family guy, and during my time in playing basketball, my family was huge for me. Yeah. There were times, you see the product on the court, but behind the scenes, it was a lot of time I was struggling, and but it was my family. So family is everything to me, and that's why I made the decision to stop playing and be there for my family.
You know what? That sounds great. It really does. But let's be honest. You're doing this TV gig, so the better half says, "Hey, Joel, come over here. I need you to take care of you." No, honey, I got television to do. I got bills to pay.
Yeah, I will tell you the nights are a little bit hard, but it's all worth it at the end of the day.
That's right about that.
100% right.
Hey, great to see you. Thanks as always. Looking forward to having you on the team, man.
Yes, sir. I'm very excited. I'm glad to be here this morning with you guys, and looking forward to being around.
All right.
It's going to be good.
Sir.
Joel Berry with us on Nothing But Net. Tell you what, man, that's a fast-moving world he's been living in, Pac.
Wait a minute. Unlike what the world we live in?
No, we're old
Stuck
guys.
in a basement
We're
for
old
18
guys,
hours
man.
a day?
We're
You kidding
guys.
me? Sounds like heaven to me.
No, he's doing good.
Get
He looks
out
like
and
you
about.
still play, too. That's the other thing.
Wait, before we go to break, I want to ask you about that. How often do you get somebody goes, "Oh, yeah, Joel Berry, Carolina. Yo, yeah, I remember watching you." All of a sudden you go down and shoot a little basket. I mean, somebody always wants a piece of you, right? I mean, isn't that the worst?
Oh, always. And, I kind of have to play it down a little bit. I don't want to be too cocky.
I mean, you want to go out there and break some ankles, though, don't you? After a while, I mean, some little banker guy comes up to you and goes, "Hey, Barry, yeah, I'll tell you, I can handle you. You were so overrated at Carolina." You're like, "Okay, let me go snap this guy in half."
Some of these guys aren't going to recognize you walking through here today without the hair, Joel. You know that, right?
That is true.
Back to that rookie year from Apopka with the haircut. So.
I am, yeah. I love it. I like it better this way. Back to the people wanting to always play me. Yeah, I'm still competitive. I'm still young. I'm 26, so I still have it in me.
I love it.
Yes, you still got it in
I got socks 26.
Oh, man. Great to see you. Thanks, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Joel Berry with us here at ACC Tip-Off. We take a break. When we come back, Duke's Coach K is here. We will visit with Coach Mike Krzyzewski ahead of what is a busy day for him here in Charlotte at the ACC Tip-Off next on Packer and Durham.
Packer and Durham. Here's Mark Packer and Wes Durham.
Packer and Durham from beautiful uptown Charlotte. Bright and early, 7:28 a.m. and right on time, because our next guest knows a little bit about military time, and when he said I'll be here at 7:30, that means you better be ready at 7:25.
I did not say at 7:30. I said 0730.
That's right. Well, let me tell you something. I don't know if you were watching.
Ladies and gentlemen,
yesterday.
Duke head coach Mike Krzyzewski joins us.
Here's my first question for you.
My first question is, why isn't it the Durham Packer Show?
You're very kind. Thank you.
Because it's from my house.
It's his basement. So
All right. I figured one of you had more dogs than the other.
Well, that would be
he
true.
He does have dogs. I have a cat.
I have hounds. You have the dog, Blue.
Yeah.
That was.
Blue's passed away.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Coach.
You're kidding me.
No, it's so horrible this summer. Yeah.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We got a new one?
Not yet. After the season.
All right. Well, my first question to you was going to be this. You're still here? I mean, I thought
left.
you were done.
I've been here for 4 decades. I've been here longer than you
that
guys
would be
have
true.
been here.
Yes.
I don't know, wait a minute. Our first guest after Joel is Kay. He's still here? Are you kidding me? By the way, before we get to your team, Wes and I were discussing this yesterday. You're going to get ready to go through this whole season. Every time you go on the road, rocking chair, grandfather clock, piece of the floor, a banner, last week's popcorn. They're going to be giving you all
I just like
kinds
a good
of stuff.
bottle of wine to take back.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, that's
well done, Coach.
That, and let's get on with the game.
All right.
And don't have the wine during the game.
Well, let's, depending how it works. Yeah. I mean, I saw your schedule. You're jumping on the Zags in Kentucky. I mean, you might want to have that thing just handy in case you need a little pep talk.
Yeah, well, we're lucky that we're in games like that. And so that's something really to look forward to. And that Champions Classic has turned out so well. And then to get Mark and his team in Vegas, that'll be Ohio State on the road before the ACC, I think will be great for our team.
You said this summer. We are in a different college basketball landscape than maybe we've ever seen. What are the challenges in that landscape with this particular team for you?
I don't know about the challenges for this team. It's for our sport. So I don't think that's going to affect the season. What it'll affect is the future and how recruiting is done, the instability that is rampant in our sport right now, and how people will adjust. I think people have adjusted really well with NIL up to now, but after giving it a year of looking at it and what can be done, it'll be incredibly interesting how programs go into the summer with recruiting and then with what NIL does, and then what structure will there be from our parent organization with the NCAA, and what will the ACC do, and what will college football do? Because I think we'll all follow what's happening in college football.
I want to go backwards before we go forwards with your team. When you decided, hey, this is it, this is last year.
Right.
Roy Williams, I know a dear friend, great competitor, decided, hey, time was right. Any bearing there? Is there any connection of the dots there? But this was your separate time frame that you just felt, hey, I need to go.
Yeah, it's, I'm 74. This will be my 47th year. And then I knew I wanted to coach one more year, but that I was kind of an ethical dilemma. Can you recruit a kid knowing that you're not going to be the coach, and you wouldn't be able to recruit that kid telling him that? And so why not tell him that John Shire, and in fact, why not let John Shire tell him that he's going to be the coach? And I like the succession plan that we have, and then my wife and I are going to stay on at Duke as ambassadors for the university, and we love Duke, we love Durham, we love North Carolina, and our 10 grandkids are all right around us.
It is you mentioned the succession plan. I kept thinking back this summer a little bit about your military background from West Point and the way that all kind of worked out. But yet there had to be a bit of a change this summer in relationship to recruiting, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
You weren't probably as present in that process.
No.
What was that like?
Well, I wasn't at Peach Jam, and and that was good. No, it was great because one of the things we learned from COVID was the lack of developing strong relationships. And so part of the plan was, I'm still involved in recruiting when a kid visits and all that, and I'm going to stay there. But on the road, John and those guys have done a great job. Chris Carewell, Nolan Smith. I said, you guys recruit. I'm going to coach our team and get to know our team. So I've loved it. We have a very close team, and it's worked out great. And then John and I have been able to spend a lot of time, the two of us, talking about being a head coach, not just being a head coach, but being a head coach at Duke.
You just said something. Get to know your team. To me, that is the theme of this entire day with every coach.
Right.
Get to know your team. Between incoming freshmen, the transfer portal, I said for fans, you're going to have to buy a program because everybody you play is going to look totally different than a year ago. So with that said, what do you think a pleasant surprise will be about this team for the upcoming season? What would you guess?
Well, I hope it's not a surprise. I hope it's business as usual, where we're one of the better teams. We're healthy. Right now we have one injury, and we're competing at the highest level. I know my team. We're a close team. We have a great group. And but again, how will they mesh? Injuries will be big because we only have 10 scholarship players. We didn't use the transfer portal. Except for 2 grad transfers. And I wanted to stick with the guys that I had. And then we actually scholarship 2 of the walk-ons. One of my grandson. There was a lot of pressure from
the grandmother.
From the grandma. Now I'm going, playing time is spent. But Michael's good, so he deserves it. And so then we have a very close-knit group. And I'm excited to see what that'll be and be in the moment, and then when that's over, then that's over, and we'll move on.
There is the growth of your team from last year to this year, in particular with Roach and Williams.
Yeah.
I thought those two guys in particular, as the season went along, really started to show, I think, the potential and the expectation that so many may have had when they started.
Yeah, well, the thing about potential, it has to have time to develop. And sometimes it doesn't develop at the time frame that fans want or a coach wants. But you have to, especially with young talent, when you're not physically ready.
Right.
You still are 18, and you're going to be different when you're 19 and 20. And at the end, Mark had a 23-point, 19-rebound game against Louisville, and he's continued to build from it. Jeremy's become a better athlete. Our captain, one of our co-captains, Wendell Moore's had a great summer.
Yeah.
And he's I think going to be a star in our league. And Joey Baker's done well. But our freshmen have come in and they're more they're physically mature. Two of them just turned 18, which is kind of nuts. But they're physically mature. So we're kind of an athletic, strong team.
I don't know if there was another team in the ACC that suffered more in terms of their home court than you did last year.
Well,
right? Because playing at Cameron, let's be honest, it's one of the legendary places to play in sport. Forget about college hoops, and every time I'd watch a game, I know you're sitting there coaching it, going, man, it's just not the same playing Duke without that crowd.
It was, you're right, Pac. But again, no excuses.
Right, it's not excuses. It is what it is.
I'll tell you what, we did notice we had on Saturday, we had an open practice for our children's hospital where they were able to make about, they made some money from it. And the energy, that was the first time Jeremy Roach, as a sophomore, has been in Cameron where there's been a human being other than the scoring table and an official or whatever, And I thought it really jacked our guys up. And then we have our countdown to craziness on Friday, and the students, tickets were on sale at 6 a.m. yesterday, and they had camped out, they partied, and so I'm excited to feel that again because we have one of the really special places in college sports.
If I were to say, I'm going to ask, I don't think you're a big fan of probably the term farewell. Would I be right about that?
Well, it'd be in about 10 minutes. It'd be good to say farewell to you guys.
You know what? I'm just glad it's 10 minutes.
I'm okay with the use of the word farewell.
But it's not a farewell tour.
No. I mean,
that doesn't seem to be your style.
No, that has nothing to do with the decision.
But a lot of people are going to talk about that in the final year and all this. But that doesn't seem to fit the Mike Krzyzewski we've seen create this unbelievable run at Duke University.
Yeah, no, it's not. Actually, it's more of a runway for John and the program he's going to build, and it just gives me a chance to do what I've loved my whole life, and that's coach, and really coach. There's just a little bit to do with the recruiting. You're not thinking about what you're going to do next year. Excuse me, it's a little bit like when I coached the U.S. team. You're coaching that.
There you go.
That competition. So that I'm coaching this season, and I'm all in. I'm still watching tape every night, and which I love to do. I mean, it's not. There's nothing physically wrong.
Right.
It wasn't COVID or whatever. It's time to move.
I want to know this. It's October the 12th. I want to know, as of this second, what has been the craziest request for your last game against Carolina? Because I'm sure there's got to be some dignitary that said, hey, Kay, we go way back. How about 2 right there at Cameron for the last? Well, there's got to be somebody.
There'll be a tough ticket. Real quick story. I've been fortunate to be on the V Foundation team since Jimmy and I were brothers. And so I host with my family the wine festival in Napa. We've done it 14 years. And this past year, we raised $12 million. It's a big event. And the first auction item was 4 tickets to that game. and it went for $1 million.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Well, I still haven't got my tickets. You going to ship those to me? How's that work?
Where's your million?
Oh no, you got my
Or
you got my
one
credit card.
ticket's $250,000.
I'm in. I got to
I
be
can
the last.
split the 4. But I'm not cutting the price.
Well, here's what I'm going to do.
In fact, I might add the price.
Well, here's what I'm going to do.
Yours
with
is
you.
$300.
All right, here's what I'm going to do to you, big man. For $300, I'm in for the
No,
last
I'm
game.
the big man because I have the ticket.
Well, wait a minute. I'm not
It's
done
not
talking.
even.
Hey, no disrespect.
I have high. In the military, they would call it. I have high ground right now.
Well, you may have high ground, but you know what? When I'm carrying you on that Sirius XM show, that's going to be a $300,000
Okay, here we
break
go.
even.
Now,
So I
here
figure
we come back
we're
to that.
even.
But what will be good? It'll be the first time I felt him carrying me on the show.
That would be the first time.
It's something to look forward.
That is, yeah.
Wes, it's,
I agree. I'm with you.
But we have had some pretty good shows.
That's unbelievable.
We've had a good time. But that is going. I mean, I know you don't want to fast forward the clock. It's every day. You want to take care of this interview and then move on with the rest of your life. But it is going to be. I mean, have you given that some thought though? What that's going to be like or not?
No, I have not. What I've tried to do is just stay
focused
on target. On not look in the past, not look in the future. Although people will ask things or, what are you going to do then? Can we get together? Can we do this? And I'd say, let's put everything on hold and let's just enjoy this season, and hopefully it will be enjoyable. And I've been lucky to have that kind of mentality every year, where you're in the moment. You're not in the past. I mean, we could be in the past pretty good. I mean, we've had some really neat things. And now you could really be in the future. But, you would miss out on being with this group. I'm 74. I get a chance to hang out every day with 18 to 23-year-old guys, a young staff. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Doing what I love to do. Why would I want to think about other things?
I said this a couple summers ago in passing to a group of friends who followed ACC basketball. I think the experience that you're having with having Michael on your team, your grandson, and the experience that Jim is now going to have at Syracuse with Buddy and Jimmy on his team, those are special, unique experiences.
Right.
That's also got to be a fun part about this run, too, that Michael's on the team and you've been able to enjoy that. As important as family has always been to you.
No, it is. But, like for me, I don't even look at Michael as my grandson when he's with the team at all, because he's a tough guy. He's scholarship this year.
Yeah.
He's one of the leaders of our team. So, again, if you get caught up in that, I think my family will. Like, really from Saturday's practice, there's some things on our social media, and there's a picture of me and Michael, and so it's put out, and all of a sudden our text is starting 5, our daughters, and so I said, "Oh, that's so good," and I said, "Settle down." Michael wants to get some playing time, so he's probably mad at me that I'm not using him.
Before you go, I do want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
No, not for basketball, for sending Chris Bryant to the Giants. I just want to thank you for that, because I know how much you love baseball.
The baseball thing right now is so exciting, and it's tough that probably the 2 best teams are playing in a 5-game series.
Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
That's right.
And
the best team's
I don't
leading.
think the series is over, though.
No, it's 2-1. The best team's up 2-1.
It's unbelievable, Coach. I mean,
best team's up 2-1 there, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a great gift for you, but you want wine, so we'll go back to the drawing board. Get your wine.
I just want your friendship going forward.
Oh, that's a gift. I mean, don't kiss up to the host now,
See,
big man.
that was
Higher
my
ground.
emotional.
Hey, higher ground.
That was my
Don't be
emotional
kissing up to the
thing.
host now, higher ground. I'll still help you out. By the way, we are still Sirius XM partners, all right? We're still rocking with that?
Yeah, and I love that show.
I know you do.
I don't like it. I love it. I've learned so much from having.
Oh yeah, the guests are great. They're
the
unbelievable.
Guests are terrific.
And don't forget, Coach, you gave us the fighting motto of this network. when you told us it's our job to promote the damn league.
That's what you said. Good point.
By the way, let's get going, man.
Let's get going.
As soon as we get you off here and get a better talent like Mike Bray next, we'll be better.
Really?
We'll be good to go.
And
he did beat you last year, right?
Yeah, I'm all for it,
Right.
you know. And, you know, some of your comments show me like you're thinking, and help him.
I will. Thanks,
Help
Coach.
him.
Great to see you. Be well. Mike Krzyzewski. When we come back, Mike Bray next. Packer and Durham, Uptown Charlotte at the ACC tip-off on ACC Network.
All right.
The Packer and Durham Podcast. This is the Packer and Durham Podcast.
Packer and Durham. There's the coach, Mike Krzyzewski,
Look at
along
this.
with the next coach, Mike Bray,
There you go.
exchanging
about that, huh?
pleasantries. Yeah, you know what? Beat you last year. I could read your lips. I read your lips on that one.
Kind of get warmed up with the JV game. We got the varsity now.
Oh, really? Is that where we're going to go? Mike Bray
it.
joins us, and ladies and gentlemen, for the first time, we visit with the head coach of the Fighting Irish when he's not in his car. Ladies and gentlemen.
That is a good point.
We've done a lot from there, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
Awesome.
Live
Great
and
to
in
see you,
person.
man.
You know what? It's good to be back, man. It is good to be back. We missed you guys, right? Last year we didn't get to do it, but I think it's just good to get back. And I'll tell you what it does for coaches and players. It kind of gets you motivated because now you see your competition in the room. You know,
Right.
we didn't see them until January or December. Now we're walking around going, uh-oh, this is what we got to knife through over the next 5 months. It's
All right.
great.
But I want to get to this sport because you are a voice of reason, a voice of experience, a voice of success. Where are we with college basketball in your mind going into this year when we have almost 2,000 guys in the portal, right? I mean, you got 3 or 4 different levels of recruiting. Where's this sport as we get ready to start?
I think it's hard to answer where we're going to be in a couple years. I think right now all of us, and like Mike Kay, I was involved with the NABC and try to be on the front edge and make some good suggestions. We're just trying to manage it on a daily basis right now between transfers and name, image, and likeness. And I'm trying to figure out where are we going to be maybe in a year with stuff? Where are we going to be? And you just try and manage the scene that you have.
Right.
I do think we have a great NABC executive director in Craig Robinson. The problem is he hasn't been able to interface with anybody because of the pandemic. Maybe moving forward, but yet we're in a constitutional convention with the NCAA. So I'm looking and going, how do we manage it every day? How do we just coach our guys? How do we get them better? Be creative with NIL. Tell me, what do we need to do? Well, let's be aggressive. We want to be aggressive. And, you know, the transfer thing hasn't bit us as much, but I'm not naive. You know, I know how that can go. So I don't know if there's any grand, and Mike Kay and I have talked about it a lot offline. You know, I don't know if there's any, we're almost maneuvering through, and we do have to get to that new constitution coming out of the NCAA before we can figure out what we're doing.
Coach, Les and I talked about this leading off the show. I don't remember ever another time where there's more uncertainty with every roster in the league. And I would say that about everybody in the country. It's not just an ACC thing. In terms of a fan's perspective, you're like, well, I don't know who's on our team anymore. I mean, it's a fake left, go right. And so it's going to be interesting for us, I think, over the next 3.5 hours and into the next show in the afternoon, listening to all the coaches and players talk about who's on our team. Are we any good? Can we play?
Who do you actually have? My new assistant asked me, what's Louisville like? I said, I have no idea. You know, we used to have a board in our war room where you'd have returnees, new recruits of every team in the league. We just stopped doing it because it moves so much. And it's almost to the point where I always enjoy you watch our league play in November and December and go, they got him? Where'd they get him?
Right.
I didn't hear about that, and that's where we're at, kind of winging it.
In some ways, does that put a premium on November and early December, knowing you got probably a couple conference games before you get to January, but you're also signing up to do some things?
Yeah.
I mean, you're signing up to
we're in it.
Yeah.
We're jumping right into this
thing. I mean, you've signed up because, number one, you've got a veteran guard. You got a guy who can lead. You know that. So but the premium is still there. Is it even more critical this year?
I think it is. There's no question. And not only with our guard, we feel we have like 6 old guys when you add the kid from Yale. And every time we've had old guys, we've been pretty good. And so Maui's in Vegas. I'm still wearing shorts. Don't worry about that. I'll still have shorts on in Vegas.
Promises back. Here we go.
And then we come back and play in Champaign, Illinois on that Monday.
Right.
Indiana, Kentucky at home. But yeah, my feeling was, and last year I probably went a little far in the midst of the pandemic because I didn't know if we'd have a season or how much of a season. I said, let's just play big games. If Rick Barnes didn't get COVID, we were going to have to play Tennessee at Tennessee this year. I mean, I dodged that bullet, but yes, I think if you can get out of the gate and get some quality wins early, then it gives you some confidence because we have 2 road league games in December.
Yeah.
But we do have an older group that's played a little bit together, and with the addition of the kid from Yale, we feel we have some men that can handle that.
Tell us about Atkinson from a standpoint of where he helps your team, and can you parallel him to anybody you've had recently?
He's really got a little bit of that Bonzi, Colson, Herringgoody stuff around the bucket.
Okay.
Good feet, hands, scores. It gives us a low post scorer, can run the floor. I like how he and Leshevsky have played together through 10 days of practice. But, he's a man. He was the player of the year in the Ivy League 2 years ago. He's 22 years old. He knows how to play, and he gives us – we've always been at our best when we can throw it into somebody. And if you don't help off our shooters, we can maybe score one-on-one in there. He does give us that.
Okay.
What's it like being the winningest coach and all of a sudden your football coach now, Brian Kelly, passes Newt Rockne? I mean, that's a pretty good combination you got going up here in South Bend right now.
I dropped Brian a note the other day. You pass the rock, I pass Digger. What's going on around here, man? Are you kidding me? I mean,
that's high cotton now.
Yeah,
that's big time.
He's it's been neat. You got to remember, my first 10, 11 years when I met Brian, that was the 5th football coach I met. And now we've had Brian consistently, my 2nd decade. And it's been awesome to see him build his culture and do what he believes in. And we've stolen some wins against ACC teams here lately.
That's not – don't talk too loud about that here on the ACC Network. You won't get any more calls either until middle of February at this rate. By the way, how much from a recruiting perspective does that help? I mean, you always hear basketball coaches go, hey, when our football is good, boy, it's great for recruiting. Man, kids come in for a big weekend, makes life that much better.
The whole energy around our campus, and now that we have a full stadium and people coming back into town, it is a great weekend. Certainly for recruiting, but I just love it because there's juice and energy and spirit. And I'm smart enough to know after 22 years, when they're doing well, it's all good for everybody's morale, and they pay a lot of bills last time I checked.
That's exactly right.
You mentioned the 2 games before Christmas, both on the road, or before New Year, both on the road. Early December BC. That's really early, by the way. Probably earlier than you would care for, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
The value of those, and then what do you think this league will be? Let's go back to the days of the whiteboard here for a minute, Coach. What do you think this league is right now?
A complete unknown. Again, my new staff keeps asking me, who are the top 4, who are the top 3, who the top, I'm like, I don't know. But I love our chances with old guys coming back and maturity. I don't know how many NCAA tournament teams we have. I don't know if I've ever gone into a season based on evacuations and transfers, not really knowing more programs in the league. You would have a better feel. And, getting off to a good start at Boston College and then Pittsburgh right after Christmas, we were 0-2 in the league last year with Virginia and Duke. We fought our way back to the middle of the road and then couldn't get over the hump. So, now, one thing about 20 league games, for better or worse,
find out.
You always get a chance to come back with 20 league games. Remember, we were the Big East that went from 16 to 18, and all of a sudden we had 11 teams in the tournament, and I think this league was really pissed off when that happened, as I remember.
It's a good way to put it.
You aren't going to get a call.
No, definitely. Same old stuff.
What do you think the biggest surprise will be about your team? when folks watch your team? I mean, I know it's impossible in October. What do you think it'll be?
We had to address the defensive end of the floor. Look, we can pass and catch and put the ball in the basket, but we could not defend enough. And I brought back Anthony Solomon for his third stint with me, and basically, he's a D coordinator. He's yelling at guys. I told him, I said, I may not yell in practice anymore the rest of my career. You got it. So that end of the floor, and we play some zone. We had to be better there, but it was on me to give us a better plan. I didn't have us in a good plan last year because I think we can score and shoot it and pass it. We've always done that up there.
Yeah.
When we've had our solid defensive teams, don't get me wrong, we've never been top 20, but when we've been solid defensively, then we've been able to compete with everybody.
Yeah. Great to see you.
Always good to see you guys. Here we go, man. Another year.
You got
Another
it.
year.
Mike Bray of Notre Dame. His team opens on November 13th against Cal State Northridge. When we come back, we'll turn the tide. We're going to visit with Reese Beekman and Cadden Shedrick of Virginia. Those guys are wandering the halls. They're going to sit down with us. We'll talk about the Cavaliers. Guess what? They're going to guard. They're going to block. They're going to screen. They're going to make shots. We'll come back and catch up on Virginia next as Packer and Durham from the ACC tip-off continues.
Packer and Durham.
It was a stunning fall from grace.
Did it concern you that a number of tests weren't working on Theranos' devices?
Her story, unbelievable. Her voice, unmistakable.
I know that we made so many mistakes.
The strange saga of Elizabeth Holmes continues. I'm Rebecca Jarvis, and I've been reporting on the case of Elizabeth Holmes for more than 5 years. And now that she's finally going to trial, we'll be following the case and Elizabeth every step of the way.
She's a big risk taker. I think she's willing to roll that dice.
The Dropout is back. Listen now and every Tuesday during the trial wherever you get your podcasts.